नमस्ते साथियों।
नवनिर्मित अंतर्राष्ट्रीय विश्वविद्यालय के असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर पूजा डोभाल ने अपना व्याख्यान दिए, जिसे देश विदेश के स्कॉलर और दर्शक के तौर पर देखते रह गए।
स्कॉलर हैं, दर्शन शास्त्र की भी जानकार हैं और आप देख रहे हैं कि वो खुद भी नन के वर्दी में हैं, तो धर्म की भी जानकार हैं, फिलॉसफी की भी जानकार हैं।
थैंक यू वेरी मच मैम।
मैं शिव प्रसाद और बोध रत्न बोध गया बिहार से मगध विश्वविद्यालय स्कॉलर हूँ।
सभी को मेरा बहुत बहुत नमस्कार। Am I audible at the back? Thank you very much. So let me begin by thanking the organizers. It takes a lot to organize an event like this. This is the real meaning of making India self-reliant, where you bring scholars, people, the real advisors and the policymakers together to listen to each other and bring a way forward. So let me just thank Department of Tourism, Government of Bihar, and District Administration Gaya, and Bodh Gaya Temple Management Committee for organizing such a wonderful international seminar and giving me the opportunity to share dais with such eminent speaker. I'm not actually qualified to be sharing dais with them. I first really thank Professor Kusum Kumari ma'am, former Vice Chancellor, Magad University. And of course, you can see from her presence, she's extremely dynamic. And what I personally appreciate about ma'am is that how she brings the entire aspects of Buddhism together, bringing the Pali, Sanskrit, all the treasure of Buddhism together and bringing the scholars together to learn from each other. So thank you very much, ma'am, for this invitation. And I also feel very humbled and honored to share dais with Professor Shailesh Kumar Singh ji from Patna University, then Professor K.D. Varmaji from MU, and Professor Anand Kumar Singh ji, Central University, Gaya. And we just had the privilege to hear the first two speakers. And I think they have already summarized what I'm going to share, but I'll still share some of the insights from the Buddhist text, that what they said is actually, how it comes from the Buddha's direct words, and later great masters from different universities such as Nalanda University, Vikramasila University, and Takshila University. So the title that I have taken for my talk today is Buddhist Insights on Self-Reliance. And now we know what is the meaning of self-reliance, as Professor Shailesh Kumar Singh already said, that self-reliance in Buddhism does not mean isolation, does not mean independence. It should be rooted in the understanding of interdependence, where you take care of oneself while take care of others. And then we also learn from Professor Anand Kumar Singh that, okay, how this Make India initiative is not just an initiative to have a short-term economic growth of India, but a very long-term understanding of how to strengthen the people of India and also the nation so that it continue to sustain itself for the welfare of humanity. So that is the real main Making India initiative. Next slide. Thank you. One great master, Acharya Bhigna, in Pramana Samuchaya, he is the great Indian Nalanda master from ancient Nalanda University. So he, in this one verse, which is the opening verse of his text known as Pramana Samuchaya, the compendium of valid cognition, he summarizes the journey of Prince Siddhartha and the concept of self-reliance, the real meaning of self-reliance through the journey of Prince Siddhartha. So in Sanskrit it goes like this: Pramana bhutay jagat hiteshane Pranamya Shastre Sugataye Taine. In English, for the benefit of the audience, the one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient being, the teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you I make prostration. So if we see each and every word of this verse, what Professor Anand sir and also Professor Shailesh sir have just mentioned, this is the meaning of self-reliance in Buddhism. It's not just taking care of oneself as individual entity, but the motivation with which Prince Siddhartha started his journey was Jagat Hit, the benefit of sentient beings, the world's benefit. And that made him discover the reality and become self-reliant. So the motivation was the benefit of the entire humanity, including our own nation. And then it made him discover the fact that, okay, how interdependence and the universal compassion that comes from this understanding is the real way to become self-reliant. in isolation, through self-centered attitude, and through thinking about the independent identity, we cannot become self-reliant. If you really want to become a true self-reliant ideal for the world, you have to embrace the world through universal love and compassion, not grounded on the blind faith, but grounded on the rationality, the natural law of interdependence. So that is the journey of Prince Siddhartha. Can we have the next slide, please? The inaugural session already cited this. It comes from Dhammapad, where it very clearly Buddha mentioned, one truly is the protector of oneself, who else would be protector. With oneself fully controlled, one gains a mastery that is hard to gain. So if you really want to export happiness, we always talk about exporting the material goods. So if you want to export happiness to the people of your country, to the people of the world, then you have to have the happiness inside. Without happiness inside, you cannot export it. Can we have the next slide, please? This again from the Dhammapad, very powerful verse which talks about the self-reliance. It says, one in whom there is truthfulness, virtue, inoffensiveness, restraint, and self-mastery, who is free from defilement is wise, he is truly called an elder. So what is the real meaning of a wise person, a mature person, a self-reliant person is who trains oneself in truthfulness, virtues, means wholesome actions, inoffensiveness, respecting everyone, like the world being one family, and then restraint in terms of not exploiting, thinking about the sustainability, and gaining the self-mastery through recognizing the true nature of reality, which is interdependence, and in a very profound form, shunyata or emptiness. Next slide, please. We have the possibility for self-reliance. Is there is a potential for it? So then very clearly in Buddhist sutras, Buddha many times mentioned the concept of Tathagat girl, the concept of the Buddha nature, that how every sentient being has the same potential as Prince Siddhartha. So Prince Siddhartha is not special in terms of that, okay, he was some divine person. No, if we put effort the way he did, one can attain the same awakening, same self-reliance. So this concept, can we have the next slide please, is so well elaborated by Arya Maitreya in his treatise known as Mahayana Uttaratantra Shastra, and he very clearly gives this analogy that say if there is a blind beggar, even next. Okay, so here he very clearly say, I would like to read the verse number 328 from Ratnavali. He says, King, hear how in this world where one usually destroys the other, you can still have both, the dharma and kingdom. So then he's saying that it's not necessary that if you want to become a self-reliant country, then you have to destroy others or you have to harm others. No, you can bring the ethics, the Buddhist insights, and for that matter, any virtuous insight together with the functioning of the nation. How to do that? For that, we have to, what is in English is very famous, put yourself in the shoes of others. So in 256, Arya Nagarjuna says, just as you pay attention to whatever you think will benefit you, so to pay attention to what you think will benefit others. That is the simple formula. So if you think that this is going to harm me and my country and my people, don't do it to other countries, other people and other individuals. Next slide please. And then as Professor Sellers and Professor Anandji was saying that, what is the real meaning of India's self-reliance or the Make India initiative is this. Once you become self-reliant, while you are becoming self-reliant, the real understanding is that the world is one family and one has to take care of the other parts of the world by becoming very, very self-confident and self-reliant and self-sufficient. So this is the verse which comes from Ratnavali. Always hear extensively for places in the world that are oppressed or where crops have failed, that have suffered harm or where there is plague, or that even have been conquered in war. So this is the ancient wisdom of Nalanda, ancient Indian Nalanda, which tells us the real meaning of self-reliance in India. Next slide, please. And then I quote His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He says that what is the real, when you say self-reliance, it is rooted in the self-confidence. If you don't have the self-confidence, then there is no self-reliance. And where does the self-confidence comes from? Not from the self-centeredness and ignorance, but the opposite of the two, which is other cherishing mind, which is universal love and compassion, rooted in the wisdom of interdependence. Nobody can deny the fact that we are dependent. COVID has told this to us. And I hope we have not forgotten that experience, that how COVID told us that we cannot flourish in isolation. We have to take care of each other if we really want to take care of ourselves. Next slide, please. And then coming from Buddha Shakyamuni's Sutra, Rice Seedling Sutra, which talks about the interdependence, it says that how finally self-reliance comes from the concept, two main concepts, self-reliance, which is rooted in the self-confidence, that is grounded in two. First, cultivating universal compassion, but then Buddhism is very special and unique in the aspect that universal compassion and love should not be cultivated on the basis of the blind faith. Okay, I have to do it because I'm a good person. No, it should be based on a rationality and the understanding of the reality that we are interdependent, that we are dependent on each other. So the more we take care of others, it is going to take care of us. Next slide, please. Even next slide. Okay, even more. Okay, so this one is very, very beautiful, which comes from, again, ancient Nalanda master from around, I think, 8th century AD, Bodhisattva Shantideva, from his text Bodhicharya Avatar, the Bodhisattva's way of life, where he mentions that, okay, when you want to make a country or yourself self-reliant, you have to take care of two aspects, external aspects and internal aspects, right? If you take care of just the outside factors, economy, the infrastructure, transportation, then of course the country will go very high in terms of the external factor, but the hollowness in the mind of the people may drag the country very down in terms of the happiness. So here he very clearly mentions that if we really want to, for example, the example given is, let's say the whole earth is filled with thorns and then you want to walk the earth. So what is the way to do it? You know, okay, what I'll do, I'll cover the entire earth with the leather. So is this a wise approach? In a way, if you want to change others, is this a wise approach? Or you just wear the two shoes, the tiny 2 feet, you cover with the leather sole, that suffices, covering the entire earth with the... So this is the wise approach. Work on yourself. Final messages, if we really want to help others, even our country people and other nation, we have to work on ourselves. The charity begins at home. So we have to start working from self. So final slide, next slide please. So the self-reliance in entirety comes from the development of external means and the revival and taking care of the internal means. So where are the internal means? So our ancient Indian wisdom, like coming from Nalanda, Vikramashila, Takshila, Udantapuri, we have to cherish them. We have to know, we have to take out time to take care of this internal wisdom, internal mind, which finally decides, even if the country is very, very rich, but the suicide rate may also be higher. So if we really want to make the country in its totality happy, we have to take care of the external factors as well as the internal thinking of the people through cherishing our ancient wisdom. Next slide, please. And these are some references. For example, Abhidharma Samuchaya, Abhidharma Kosh. This tells us the encyclopedia of the mind, how to take care of yourself, make yourself happy individual while taking care of the external needs. Then we have Mool Madhyamika Karika, Chatushtaka Shastra Karika, Bodhicharya Avatar, Madhyamika Avatar from great Indian Nalanda masters, which tell us the ontological reality of interdependence, not by the means of blind faith, but through sheer reasonings, and then also taking care of ourselves through cultivating the valid cognition in Pramana Vartika by Acharya Dharma Kirti. With this, I conclude. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद पूजा जी, आपने व्यवहारिक तरीके से बुद्धिज्म को कैसे आज के तारीख में हम आगे लाएं और वो कैसे हमारे लिए उपयोगी हो, उसके लिए रिलीजियस टेक्स्ट जो बोधिचर्या अवतार और विभिन्न अभिधम्म कोश सभी का रेफरेंस देते हुए नालंदा और विक्रमशिला ट्रेडिशंस को आगे बढ़ाने की बातों को एडवोकेट करते हुए बातों को रखा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपके विद्वतापूर्ण भाषण के लिए।